welcome to Storytime with Fairfield County Library. My name is Miss Nina, and I am so excited for Storytime today. Are you guys ready? It's summer reading, so we're doing hybrid Storytimes, which means we're doing Storytimes in person and online. The in-person Storytimes are at the same time as the videos, so for you guys that means 4 p.m. on Wednesday afternoons. Okay, now that that's out of the way, are you guys ready for story time? This week our theme is ocean animals. That means this week we're going to read about other kinds of animals who live in the ocean but aren't fish. This can mean jellyfish or whales or any kind of other animal in the ocean. All right, our first book is A House for Hermit Crab by Eric Carle, published by Aladdin Paperbacks. "Time to move," said Hermit Crab one day in January. "I've grown too big for this little shell." He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean, but it was frightening out in the ocean sea without a shell to hide in. "What if a big fish comes along and attacks me?" he thought. "I must find a new house soon." Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling around inside it to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looked so plain, thought Hermit Crab. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. "How beautiful you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain it needs you." "I'll come," whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claws and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the ocean floor. "How handsome you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to decorate my house?" "I would," singled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. "How pretty you are," said Hermit Crab. "Will one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful?" "I would," creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. "How tidy and hard-working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "How fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," cried the sea urchin. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another, bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. "They have been so good to me," thought Hermit Crab. "They are like a family. How can I ever leave them?" In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. "I have outgrown my shell," she said. "Would you know of a place for me?" "I have outgrown my house, too," answered Hermit Crab. "I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends." "I promise," said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. "Couldn't stay in that little shell forever," said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked whiter than he remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. All right, and here we have some information about the different types of animals that he made friends with. Okay, that was a house for Hermit Crab. If you were a crab, what would you use to decorate your shell? All right, our next book is Love, Agnes, Postcards from an Octopus by Irene Latham, illustrated by Thea Baker, and published by Millbrook Press. One day, in the deep dark beneath the pier, an octopus found a large jar. She knew it would make a perfect home, but something was blocking her way. "Dear Nobody, Mom said I'm not allowed to call you a monster, even though that's what you are. So I'm writing instead, Monster. Things are great until you came along. You're nothing, Andrew." And this postcard is addressed to Nobody at the Seaside Pier in California. The octopus turned bright red. Her arms twitched. She knew she wouldn't be able to rest until she rode a fly. "Dear Andrew, just because I have a beak that can crush bones and arms that stretch as wide as a car does not make me a monster. I'm a mollusk, okay? Look it up. Sincerely, Annoyed Agnes." And it's addressed to Andrew at Above the Waves in California. Agnes watched the postcard drift away. She tucked herself into the jar to wait for a tasty crab to scuttle by. We have another postcard. Dear Agnes, you think you're annoyed? I'll show you annoyed. The other day when I went out for a swim, someone came along and stole my home. That jar is mine. Find some other place to hide. Got it? Mackenzie, another younger octopus. To Agnes in large jar beneath the pier. Agnes slipped out of the jar. She flexed each row of suckers. She stretched herself tall and wide. She wasn't scared of some silly little octopus. Oh, we've got another postcard. Dear Mackenzie, fine, I'm leaving. I have more important things to do than fight. Besides, this jar stinks. Now I know why. Not sincerely, older, wiser Agnes. To Mackenzie, large stinky jar beneath the pier. Agnes glided along the ocean floor until she found a cozy pile of rocks. She knocked on the door not once, but 8 times. No one answered, so she settled into a crevice and fell asleep. When she woke, this is what she found. Dear Agnes, ahoy! I have an announcement. For all crabs everywhere, I feel it is my duty to inform you that we do not like your arms or your suckers or the way you crunch. Find some other lunch. A crab happy to have escaped your suckers. To Agnes in old rock pile beneath the pier. Agnes sighed. She wasn't very hungry anyway. It was time to lay her eggs. Dear Crab, okay, I'll leave you and your friends alone. If you'll promise this, be quiet. No skittering or scuttling near my nest. My babies need their rest. Thanks in advance, exhausted Agnes. To Krabby Crab in ocean floor beneath the pier. Agnes admired her eggs. She cleaned them and coddled them. When she looked up from her work, another postcard had arrived. Dear Agnes, you call yourself wise? Ha! I'm the one who chased you out of that jar. No way are you smarter than me. Mackenzie, the smartest octopus in the sea. To Agnes, old rock pile beneath the pier. Agnes rolled her eyes. She still knew how to do between the two. She jetted super fast across a current. When a dogfish followed too close, she blasted it with a cloud of ink. When the water cleared, what did she see floating by? Dear Nobody, I was about to say something else mean about you know who when Mom said, Andrew, write it down. So here I am, writing another postcard that no one is going to read. Thanks for nothing. Andrew. To Nobody. Seaside Pier, California. Agnes stroked her growing eggs. She blew on them ever so gently. Her skin turned from bumpy orange to creamy pink, and she wrote her reply. Dear Andrew, my name is Agnes. I may not be the smartest octopus in the sea, but I have read both your postcards. Have you ever tried swimming? You can't be mad or sad when you swim. Try it. Sincerely, Happy Agnes. To Andrew, above the waves, California. Agnes sucker-kissed the eggs. She wiped away algae. They wouldn't be eggs much longer. It was time to send them a message. Dear eggs, I can't believe how fast you're growing. You are my beautiful, breathing treasure. I wish we could stay like this forever. Love, Agnes. To my eggs, old rock pile, beneath the pier. And then one day, they hatched. Agnes waved as the babies floated away forever. Quickly, she scribbled them one last postcard. Dear beautiful babies, watch out for crabs and other octopuses. Some of them think they are so smart. If you find the perfect home, make sure it's empty before you move in. And then, hunt, sleep, swim. Remember, you are the reason for everything. Love, Agnes. To my beautiful babies, Pacific Ocean, California. Now Agnes's job was done. Like a ghost, she faded to white, but not before another postcard drifted her way. Dear Agnes, that first note in the bottle, it wasn't meant for you. Shh, it was for my brother, Jack Henry. You're not a monster at all. You're a hunter, a magician, a transformer. And guess what? I looked it up. You have 3 hearts. Thank you for writing to me. Your friend, Andrew. P.S. Swimming lessons start next week. Jack Henry isn't so bad in the pool. To Agnes, Pacific Ocean, California. Agnes swelled. She swayed. She knew exactly what she wanted to say. Dear world, what a life, what a place. I have friends above the waves, and now I must say goodbye. Goodbye. Don't worry, the end is not at all like I thought it would be. You'll see. Gratefully, Agnes Octopus. P.S. Hey, Andrew, give Jack Henry an octopus-sized hug from me. To the whole world. Alright, and here's some extra bonus information about octopi. Okay, that was Love, Agnes, Postcards from an Octopus. What'd you guys think? Alright everyone, thank you for coming to Storytime. Now, just because we're done reading does not mean we have to be done with Storytime. If you come down to the library this week, you can pick up a Storytime kit, which is a fun-filled activity kit that we made to go with the books we read today. Each kit comes with a coloring sheet, a craft, and a tasty recipe that you can make with your grown-ups. This week, our craft is this little paper cup octopus. It even has 8 legs. To get a kit, you need to come to the Fairfield County Library and look for some crates in the children's section. Now, we have 2 crates, one for Monday and one for Wednesdays. So you want to make sure to grab the right kit, or you could end up with something completely different. The kits for this story time are in the group of B crate. They're the blue ones. New kits come out whenever there's a new story time, but we might have some left from last week if you missed it. It never hurts to ask. Maybe ask for me, Miss Nina. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining me for story time. It's time to say goodbye, but I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye!